Hello you guys, I'm Mateo and today I'm here to show you by far the easiest and most consistent way to AFK farm for Igris as well as get a ton of green essences in Anime Vanguards. If this video does help you out, remember to give it a like and subscribe for more. And as always, if anything does change with this method, I'll make sure to leave it in the comments section down below as well as make a whole new video, so you're going to want to be subscribed for that. I will also include a save file of the script that I make in today's video so that you guys can use it for yourselves. That'll be over in my Discord, link down in the description below. Now let's not delay it any longer. Let's get right into how this method actually works. All right, you guys, so if you are trying to get Igris in Anime Vanguards, this method is going to get that for you. Now, if you do the method that I'm about to show you, you could complete each run in under 6 minutes, which means that every single hour you can have 10 chances at getting Igris for yourself. And according to the statistics, since it's a 0.75% chance in order to get Igris, it's going to take you an average of 133 runs to get it. Now, you guys shouldn't be sweating because as I just told you, you can do this 10 times an hour with the method that I'm about to show you, and you can do this while you're sleeping pretty much. So on average, this will take you 13 hours in order to get. For some of you, it might take a little bit more, and some of you, it might take you a little bit less. It really just depends on your luck. Personally, I actually got my Igris in the first 40 to 50 levels of grinding that stage. But if I actually go over there and look at how many completions I have now, because I have still been AFKing it, I actually have over 246 and I still have not gotten my second one. Now, I think I've only grinded about 20 of those, like actually just been here, like actually clicking and placing the units. And the other 200 of them have been AFKing overnight. Now, the great thing about this method is that on top of getting Igris in just one day by doing this, is the fact that you get a ton of the green essences that are used to make all of these types of stones. And if you didn't know already, in order to evolve Igris, you're going to need a lot of these. Now, one thing that you have to remember is that when you're doing this method, you can only have a max of 102 green essence stones at a time. So before you go AFK overnight, make sure that you actually begin crafting all of the other types of essence stones so that you don't reach that limit, because you are going to reach that 102 green essence stone limit very quickly overnight. So you're going to want to make sure you don't waste any of those and actually go ahead and craft the stones here. So every night before I go to sleep, I make sure to go ahead and craft the ones that I have the least of. You're going to need a ton of these, so it doesn't really matter which ones you choose. I would just make sure you have like an even amount of each. But yeah, this method absolutely prints these green essence stones, which is perfect because when grinding this legend stage, you're going to get the thing that you actually need to evolve Igris, which are these blood red armors. And then on top of that, you're also going to get a ton of these crystals, which will allow you to essentially level him up pretty much instantly once you actually get him. Now, one tip, because you probably don't have Igris if you are watching this video, make sure you evolve him as quickly as possible once you get him, because he is so OP evolved. The reason for that is once you evolve him, he has this AoE move and he absolutely destroys everything on the map. Now, personally, I went ahead and actually got the marksman trait on him as well, which makes his range absolutely insane, and you could pretty much beat any level in the game by just having Igris with that AoE upgrade. But enough of that. If you guys are watching this video, you probably already know how good he is and why you guys want him in the first place. In terms of the team that you use, you don't really need anything too specific. The one actual thing that you need is a unit that has a ton of range, because we're going to be using that unit in order to hit 2 of the statues on the outside at once. And then as well as that, just have another legendary unit that is pretty cheap to use, that also has a good amount of range and that can take care of a bunch of mobs at once. I don't know why I said mobs, I meant units, but I'm pretty sure you guys know what I mean anyways. My suggestion would be to use Kanaro here, because he is very good for destroying multiple units at once, and he has a decent range and a very low seconds per attack. Another one I see a lot of people use is Atoshi here. So if you have Atoshi and he's more leveled leveled up or you have a better trait, I'd recommend using him. And then besides that, you're going to want one unit that also does a decent amount of damage. So I'm going to be using Sung Jin Woo here. All right, you guys. So if you are using my download file for the tiny task, make sure that you have your long range unit in slot 1, have your DPS or your damage unit in slot 2, and then have your cheap legendary that can handle most units in slot 3, and then of course your money unit in slot 4. And if you are recording it yourself, make sure that your play speed's on 1, continuous playback is turned on, and then you know what your recording and playback hotkeys are. I'm going to have tiny task up on the screen here so you can see how long the recording is, as well as when I'm starting and stopping the recording. So really quickly, we're going to head into the legend stages, into Double Dungeon Act 3, and we're going to begin. Now to start off this macro, what you're going to want to do is actually go ahead and lose this first round. Make sure you don't move around when you load in, and then vote start as quickly as possible because you're going to actually jump up here. All you're going to do is walk straight and then press space to jump, and then press S on your keyboard to turn around. Then walk to the complete edge of this statue. Now you could change your camera angle as much as you want. You have to make sure that you're all the way zoomed out as well. Now the reason you're going to lose this first round is because you're actually going to start the macro on the screen where it says retry at the bottom right here. So for now, what you're going to want to do is angle your camera in a way that you can see every single statue around the circle. Personally, I like to have this little diagonal slash in the middle of the door in the back here, just so it's easier to line up, and then I can line up this stuff in the back when I want to actually go ahead and reuse this macro. If you are recording this for yourself, you can also use a mount in game because that'll give you a better sky view of all of the statues. Personally, I don't do it, and it is a little different between all the different mounts, so I'm not going to do it for the recording. But really quickly, if I press V here, you can see on the mount you get a little bit of a better view of all the statues. Completely up to you. You don't need it. It's just a little bit easier for some people. And what you're going to have to do is keep in mind where all the statues are. So as you can see on the left side, there is one down here. And then where this little yellow triangle is the second statue. This is the third. And then of course you could see the 3 up here on the left and the 3 up here on the right. Now make sure you don't place one here on this like middle stand where the torches are. On the right side here, this is going to be the third statue. The second one is like right here. I'm not sure if you guys can even see that, but where we're going to place the unit is going to be like right here in between them anyways. And I have such a big range on my Cheyenne that it doesn't really matter. If your range unit doesn't have that much range, the only difference you're going to have to do is actually go ahead and upgrade that unit a couple times when you do place it. And if you follow exactly what I do in this video, you'll have plenty of money to be able to do that. So don't you guys worry at all. So once you go ahead and actually lose the round, make sure you're clicked on the screen, and then you're going to start your recording and then click retry and then click the start as soon as possible. The quicker that you actually make the recording, the more runs you can do while AFKing. So for example, if you are able to do the recording in 5 minutes instead of 6 minutes, that's going to enable you to do 12 runs an hour instead of 6 runs an hour. So it is kind of a bit of difference depending on how fast you're able to go, but you're definitely going to want to give a buffer for a few things that I'll show you in the recording here in this video, because it is more prone to error if you don't give a little bit of a buffer, because sometimes killing things takes a little longer depending on if the boss actually goes ahead and stuns your character that's doing the most damage. But you guys don't have to worry about that. I'll show you exactly which things to actually give a buffer on. So I'm going to go ahead and press Ctrl-Shift-Alt-R here and then start the recording, click retry, click vote start, and then we're going to immediately go ahead and place our money units so that we can begin our money production. Make sure you're on top of it with placing these as soon as you can. What you're going to want to do is place your 3 money units before you start placing your damage dealing units at all. So for the purposes of this, we just got our 3rd unit. Now from here, what I'm going to do is place my Kanaru once I get that $750, like right here in the corner. Now this Kanaru is going to be able to take care of those beginning units really well, and I'm not going to need anything for quite a bit of time. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is begin fully upgrading my money units so that we can be creating the most amount of money to be upgrading these units in the future. Now, how effective your third unit is going to depend on what your character is and its stats and a bunch of other factors. So don't be afraid to place like 2 of the units if you think that your units isn't going to be able to take care of all of these beginner guys. Once the 6th wave starts, I usually place my second legendary unit, so I'm just going to place it right here in the corner, so it'll be able to take care of everything that comes along that bend. And then I'm going to continue fully upgrading these money units. And then once these money units are fully upgraded like here, I'm going to place my damage unit. Now, your damage unit is going to depend on its range and how much damage it really does, but personally I post it like a little bit up here on the right side so that it can destroy the boss just that much quicker, because the quicker you actually kill the boss means that you can actually get the recording a lot quicker. So I'm going to place it here on the right side, and then at this point in the recording you should be able to upgrade it a few times. So I'm just going to upgrade it to like level 5 here. Again, this is going to depend on how strong your unit is, but from level 5, I think he's going to be able to hold his weight. And then at wave 10 here, I'm going to begin placing my range units. So in my first slot, I'm going to be placing my Cheyenne here at the top left between these 2 statues. I would definitely suggest placing it a little bit away from the wall if you have enough range in order to do so. The only reason I do that is just in case the camera does move a little bit, it's still not going to like mess up and like be in the red here and not place the unit. So I'm going to go around the circle and do this for each of the 2 sets of statues. So in the bottom right here, I'm going to place it like right before this crease, click off, and then do the same over on this side, like right before the crease is where I'm going to put it. If you don't have like 30 range, I would go ahead and upgrade your unit a couple times. You should definitely have enough money to do so, so don't worry about that at all. And then what you're going to want to do is place the other damage units that you have available on the 3rd statue in each of the sets. So I'm going to place my Sung Jin Woo on the 3rd one in the top left, my last Sung Jin Woo here on the top right, the single statue over here. And then I'm going to begin placing my legendary units on the 3rd statue on both the bottom right and the bottom left. So make sure you just place it like right next to where you see the base of the statue. So I can see the base of the statue over here. Make sure for the legendary units, you do upgrade it to the max, because if the statues are right next to it, since it's a legendary unit, it's not going to be doing all that much damage. So you're going to want it to be able to destroy the statue as quickly as possible. And then as you can see, I have plenty of leftover money, so I'm going to use that to actually upgrade my Sung Jin Woo to max. And then I also have one more Cheyenne here that I'm going to place like right here so it can immediately start doing damage to the boss. If you press R a couple times, that's going to change who it targets. So I'm going to make sure that my Sung Jin Woo as well as the Cheyenne both target the strongest units in the area. And then I'm going to click down here to make sure all the screens are clicked off. And that is pretty much it for your save. You are going to absolutely destroy this boss. I actually even forgot to go ahead and sell my money units on the right. If you needed even more money, you could have just went ahead and sold those money units, but I did accidentally forget, so that's my bad. Now, once this ends, I would just wait like another 5 to 10 seconds, just in case sometimes it does take you a little longer to destroy the boss. And then what you're going to want to do once those seconds are up is just rapidly click. Again, do it for an additional like 5 to 10 seconds, even after all the stuff is closed. And then once you feel like that is reached, you're going to end the recording. So the reason why it might take you longer to destroy the boss sometimes is because the boss likes to actually go down and stun some of your units. So if the boss decides to stun your main damaging unit, it's going to take you longer to kill him. So that's why you do give a little bit of a buffer every time you do this recording. But that is pretty much it, you guys. I could have probably saved a little time on the recording, but I was just making sure that I explained everything that I possibly could to you guys. Also, if you do have more units, you can do it even quicker. As you can see, I have an additional empty slot, but I know most of you watching this probably don't have your 5th slot unlocked, so I wanted to make sure everybody watching was included. Now, again, you are going to get a ton of these crystals, a ton of the blood red armor, which you use to actually evolve Igris, as well as these green essence stones. Make sure you did what I said before and actually go ahead and craft all the other types lots of essence stones, especially before you go to sleep, because by the time you wake up, you are going to be at the max, which is like 102 or 101. Make sure you don't waste these things because you're going to need a ton of them to evolve all of your mythics as well as your Igris. And then on top of that, you also get a little bit of gems, which is a nice bonus. Doing this method isn't as good as AFKing the story mode if you are just going for gems, but the 30 gems that you get every time you do it is also a nice little bonus. Either way, that is pretty much it for the video. Hopefully this helped you out. If you have any questions at all, leave them down in the comment section below and I'll try to answer them to the best of my abilities. Again, the download to the tiny task file will be in my Discord. I hope it is able to work for a lot of you, but how well the tiny task works will depend on a lot of things such as your performance in game as well as the size of your screen. So for that reason is why it might not work so perfectly, but I think in this video you learned exactly how you can set up the perfect one for yourself, and the beautiful thing about it is you can definitely reuse it. Just make sure you align that health bar at the top with the top door here, and you should be able to get the same perspective and reuse this macro every single time. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to catch you in the next video, and peace out.